Live.
Live action.
3, 2, 1.
You recording like the podcast?
Yep, I'm recording the podcast as well.
Baba, no.
Okay. You ready for some theme tune?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
We're white.
Hello, webheads, and welcome to another edition of Spider-Man the Animated Series podcast. Today is a very special day because I'm sitting right next to our co-host, Marvel, Image, Artist, and all those other properties I always forget about, Mr. Will Robson. Say hello, Will!
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
I'm alright. Brought to you by Corona Extra.
And also this beer that I can't remember its name, but it's delicious.
And my dog.
So-
Brought to you by... Come here.
Alright, so today...
Spider-Man, the Animated Series podcast. Who's your favourite Spider-Man character?
Okay, so that was the dog for anyone that's listening to this post the live video, because we're streaming live on our Facebook at STAS Podcast and also on Robson Inc. on his YouTube channel. But for all those listening afterwards, you'll just have to enjoy us in your ear holes. So today we are going to review the Alien Costume Part 3 episode. But first, we're going to talk about, well, one, my stag/bachelor party that I got to enjoy a couple of weeks ago here, which was super nerdy and super fun.
Yeah.
We went to go see the Han Solo movie, didn't we?
Yeah, and it was very good.
It was good. I've been seeing a lot of negative press about it, and also it's the least profitable opening weekend for a Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi, for whatever reason.
Why was Return of the Jedi not profitable?
Well, it was, but it wasn't as profitable as New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Oh, Baba, hello. This is a new host to the show. Her name is Luna.
Use the Force.
She's like our little kingpin.
Hello, Smite. Smite, did you bring me any treats today?
I just want to put like a purple cravat on her.
Oh, that would be adorable.
That would be amazing.
I am 3% body fat, Smite. No, it's not. You smell nice, Smite.
So we will not go into great detail about Han Solo, but we really did enjoy it, especially some scenes that we didn't see coming, which were really cool.
Yeah. Oh, and we also got to watch it in that dope movie theatre where we had lounger seats, we had our own mini fridge. It felt like a private movie theatre.
That was amazing. I now want to only go see movies
Yeah,
there.
I told you.
In fact, we're going in a couple of weeks to go see Jurassic World.
Oh, yeah, I need to book that.
So we really enjoyed ourselves, and we went out drinking, we played some pool, I did some VR. The shark cage experience was amazing.
And you were Batman as well.
And I got to be Batman. So yeah, that was great fun. And then the following week, I got married.
Yeah.
And shocking. Well, I had the proper ceremony, and it was like Peter Parker and Mary Jane, because my wife has red hair. I didn't have a purple bow tie on, but I thought that...
That's true. What you were wearing does look a bit like the...
PDC.
What Peter wears when... Yeah.
Yeah, besides the purple bow tie, and what's the thing that goes around the waist?
I don't know. Waist belt?
Yeah, something like that, and the purple waist belt. I'm also drinking beer, so if I burp every now and
Your
then,
weird
apologies.
Talky burping
Yeah.
thing you do.
But we really did enjoy ourselves, and yeah, it was great fun. The wedding was great fun. We played beer pong afterwards, just because why not? And yeah,
was your best man, and I did my best man speech.
yeah. So let's talk about that, because the best man speech was more like a roast, and I was the target. And
You
not
weren't
to,
the only target.
no, I know. Not to mention some of our family members in comparisons to North and South Korea on both sides of our family, and our grandmothers. It was a great day. I just wanted to say thank you very much, because I had a great time, and you kept me calm, because even though I've been married, for any listeners that are new, my wife is from America, and we've been together for years and years, but immigrating her over here was a bit of a challenge, and it was recommended to us to just get married on paper. So we did it. We didn't get our day. We felt robbed. So we went ahead and had a ceremony, and I thought I'd be fine. I was like, yeah, I'm already married. It's just going to be something that's going to be enjoyable. I was shaking.
Yeah, you were nervous. And the bride was late, which is usual anyway.
Yep.
You don't know what's going on. For me, anytime something goes wrong, I think of the worst possible situation.
What, she's just not
So
going
I'll
to
be
show?
like, she's either not showing up or she's dead. There's no anywhere else besides it.
Well, if she's not shown up, then I hope she's dead. Yeah, so I will.
Well, I heard we were, because where we did it was in a bombed out church in London. A really nice spot. I thought it was a very, very nice spot. Nicer than just a regular, like, sort of church setting. And it had all these seats around. I heard there was supposed to be some sort of diagram. People were supposed to specifically be in spots. Did you fuck that up?
Well, yes.
I knew you fucked up because everyone was talking because everyone said when Sydney came out, she thought we were all like rebelling against the diagram, and everyone's like, there was no diagram.
Well, to be fair, so she drew out this diagram, and yes, I looked at it backwards, so I fucked up, Smythe. But
was it just everyone in reverse then?
Yeah, but if you think about that layout, because she did say to me, she's like, now the layout you chose was better.
Okay.
But I wish you would have told me that. And it's like, well, I didn't even
No
know where you were.
No surprises for the bride.
Yeah, exactly. We had a bagpiper, which was great fun.
Yeah, that was good.
So yeah, it was a fantastic day, and we were supposed to go away on honeymoon, but we really didn't have enough time to plan it, and it just wasn't something that we could kind of just...
honeymoon is doing a podcast with me!
Exactly. So cutting it short, I'm here now doing a podcast with you, which is great fun. And my wife is off wrestling tonight, so it's not like she's sitting home alone like, yay, married life. So yeah, moving on then. We have our review coming, but what I'd like to also talk about is I realised we haven't cast two characters. We play our little cast that character game for the MCU. There are two characters that we haven't cast. One being J. Jonah Jameson, and the other one being Eddie Brock and Venom. So Eddie Brock and Venom, even though Tom Hardy is Eddie Brock and also Venom in the upcoming Venom film, it has yet to be confirmed. Actually, no, it has been confirmed, I'm sorry, that this is not part of the MCU.
Yeah, really confusing.
Very confusing because at one point Tom Holland was supposed to be in it.
I wonder what the decision there was. I think it was something like, no!
Maybe...
We're going to make our own Deadpool.
Maybe
it's going to be super popular. Is that what they're thinking?
I guess, and maybe Fox was like, we don't want to give any more money to the
Marvel
MCU.
Was like, well, maybe they had so much control, and Marvel was like, do you know what? I don't want to be... This isn't our vision of Venom, so you take it.
Yeah, I have no idea, but it kind of makes me happy because then if Venom is shit, then you can still have hope that the MCU is going to do the symbiote saga and do it right.
I don't mean to interrupt the podcast, but if you look, freshly born baby seagulls.
Oh my god!
Look at them, they're so tiny.
Oh, they are sweet.
On the side note of the podcast, outside my office window is these two seagulls, and every year they lay little chicks. So.
Oh, Nathan Brown said Rick and Morty VR is the best.
Yeah, I heard it's good. I want to buy
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I've been waiting to buy it. It's made by the same people that made this game called Job Simulator, which is my favourite VR game.
Oh, okay, cool. We'll definitely check that out. Alright, so let's cast that character, shall we?
Okay.
We will start with JJ. Now...
Which I didn't prepare.
So you have no JJ?
No, I thought it was just Venom. If I could let me try and think off the top of my head.
Should I give you mine? What you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. So mine is, at first I thought, no, it's a bit of an oddball choice. But then I saw this photograph, and I thought, you know what? He's a fucking great JJ. Mine is John C. McGinley, who is in Scrubs. He's
John
like...
C. McGinley.
He's in Scrubs.
Okay.
He's also in The Rock.
Which I know exactly what you're talking about.
Look how JJ he looks.
Oh wow, that picture definitely showed.
Right? I don't know if you can see that. Look how JJ that guy is. That is J. Jonah Jameson.
I'm sold. That's a fantastic choice.
Put a mustache on that dude, and I think he could rock that role. Because I do love what's his face. Perfect casting. I can't remember the actor's name now. He was recently Jim Gordon.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Was he any good?
Well, yeah, he had like 10 lines, and it was pretty much what you saw in the trailer. But you're like, yeah, okay, that's Jim Gordon. But Gary Oldman is always Gordon, isn't he?
No, I think that's perfect casting. I wouldn't be able to pick a better choice than that.
Oh, I've got more comments. Derek O'Sullivan, this is a podcast I've ever listened to, all because of Spider-Man. Don't know what that means, but I'm worried about the new Venom as he looks too much like a good guy. I agree.
Yeah, they're doing the whole Spawn treatment with him, I think, the anti-hero. And I think he's been an anti-hero longer in the comics than he has been a hero, but I don't know. I think the film looks alright, but I would much rather see in the Spider-Universe. Hopefully, they can actually do the sort of Secret Wars type thing with Spider-Man and getting the Venom suit and stuff like that. Maybe they won't even touch on the character at all. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe they'll just go, well, we'll leave Fox to that, and maybe 10 years down the line we'll do our own Venom.
Or they're like, they can do an origin story so the audience knows the character. We'll just have our Venom come in. We don't need to make a whole backstory for him anymore.
I wonder if they'll try and use Tom Hardy like they share Tom Holland. It's the Toms that Fox and that MCU and the Chris's. But yeah, I wonder if they'll use him. If it goes well, maybe MCU will consider it.
You could start like the symbiote in like a Captain Marvel or a Guardians thing, any of the space, or Thor as well, any of the cosmic stuff. You can introduce that, just the idea of the symbiote there. I think that'd be cool.
I think that would be very cool. So, who did you choose for Venom in the MCU then?
I had two choices. Right. One is Liam Hemsworth. Get the other Hemsworth brother in there.
Okay.
He's got the thick black eyebrows like Eddie Brock has.
Okay.
And my other choice was Channing Tatum.
So
they're not great choices. All I searched on Google was like muscly men actors.
So I did the same, because when you're doing Eddie Brock, I mean the Eddie Brock is the Todd McFarlane Eddie Brock. It's the animated series Eddie Brock. He's crew cut. He's muscular. He's a bit brutish. He's a bit stupid.
Yeah, that's why I think Tom Hardy is a great Eddie Brock.
I do too, and I was like, I really don't want to pick Tom Hardy because he's already been chosen for this iteration that they're doing with Fox. And also, I felt like he was too good of an actor to be Eddie Brock.
I get that.
So, I looked at Channing Tatum, but I was like, he's too soft.
Yeah, and I kind of feel the same way about Liam Hemsworth as well. I didn't have a good choice.
So I chose John Cena.
I was gonna choose that as a joke.
I think he think about this.
This was gonna be more, because you know every time you're like, who should be? I'm always like, John Cena.
Yeah. Look at him. He is the perfect Eddie Brock.
Yeah, but he's in his 40s now. I think he's a bit too old.
Yeah, but he still looks good and he looks young. I mean, Tom Hardy's
he could play
40s.
a big doofus and like, oh, look, it's Spider-Man's always screwed me over.
Exactly. He'd be a great Eddie Brock journalist and complaining about Spider-Man. And I can see him wrestling with the symbiote and losing with it. And having it take over.
It's just so ugly, though.
I agree with you 100% from Derek O'Sullivan. And we've got, I want to see Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine as Carnage for the MCU.
Why Rosa?
I don't know who Rosa is.
It's a female character. You've seen her in other stuff.
Okay.
What else has she been in?
I've got actually, today when looking for Venom, I got my MCU Carnage casting done as well.
Well, I changed mine to the guy from the new Star Wars films, the ginger guy.
I thought he was your Smythe. No, he was your Smythe.
Yeah, but when we were chatting about it, I was like, no, he'd make a much better Carnage.
That's true. I do like my choice for Smythe, which is that, what's it, Moriarty from the Sherlock show. Yeah. No, you won't. No, you won't.
I fucking hate that.
I'm going to catch you. No, you won't. But he would be a great Smythe, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will say that my choice for Carnage is... I don't think you know him because you haven't seen... Oh, you have. You know the bloke who plays Joker in Gotham? That young bloke who looks... I think you'd be an excellent psychopath that just goes off the rails and is a serial killer and lets the symbiote take over.
Yep, I think that's a good choice.
So when we come to the symbiote episode, we don't need to cast it because it's already been done. Okay. Alright, we are going to dive into this episode. This is going to be interesting because usually I have notes and I'm reviewing, I'm talking to you and going through it. So forgive me if I'm looking down for most of this, but to go over the usual stats before we go into the review, this episode came out on the 13th of May, 1995, 2 days before your birthday. I knew you were going to say that.
My birthday when I was 5 years old.
It was written by Mark Hoffmeyer, Bryn Stevens, and John Semper Jr. One of those people I'm talking to right now and is going to come onto the show at some point. Yeah, which is exciting. So we've got featuring voice actors Christopher Daniel Barnes as Spider-Man Peter Parker, Hank Azaria as Eddie Brock Venom, Ed Asner as J. Jonah Jameson, Rodney Salisbury as Robbie Robertson, Linda Gary as Aunt May, Sarah Ballantyne as Mary Jane, Don Stark as the Rhino, Jim Cummings as the Shocker, and Michael Horton as John Jameson. Featuring characters created by Steve Ditko, Stan Lee, Todd McFarlane,
ever drawn on my shelf right there. That would be ridiculous. Even his Hulk run. Who owns that?
God, that beer is tasty. Get close to the Dick. No, I'm just saying you were like leaning.
No, I was chilling.
It's got music featured and created by Udi Harpez, Shuki Levy, and
Udi
Haim
Harpez.
Sapam. So, before we go in also, we are in Will's office, and this is where the sausage is made. The magic happens.
That's where the sausages be.
I would lift it up and give you a tour, but if we do that, everything will probably fall over. But I am surrounded by art, comic books, action figures, guitar, weights that look like Eddie Brock would lift them. Look at those weights down there.
They're proper weights, aren't they?
Yeah, they're proper Eddie Brock Atlas. What was it? Atlas Gymnasium he got them from.
How did he figure that out? We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And yeah, we're just surrounded. We got some Spidey memorabilia for the YouTube watchers up there, and also for Facebook, some behind me as well. Also, a massive Christmas
Look
gift.
how big this fucking Batmobile is.
I got him that for Christmas.
Look, inside, Smythe. Batman and Robin.
Cute!
You know,
like
it took me like an hour to put their fucking seatbelts on.
Really?
Oh my god, it was so fiddly. It's so big.
Safety first, mate.
And the lights turn on and shit. It's pretty cute.
Oh, Derek O'Sullivan, J.K. Simmons played Jameson. That's right, and he is still a damn good choice. So I would not care if he was cast again in the MCU.
I like your choice better.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to see some new blood, but definitely I would be okay with Simmons as well. Alright, so fun fact before we go into this, I meant to say this last time when we reviewed with Brian. The first time that this show did the previously on Spider-Man was in the Alien Costume Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And just like most cartoons that we see now, they do that like 2 minute previously on whatever show, and they show you a bunch of clips and catch the viewers up on what's going on. You are so snorts. So, I found out that the whole previously segment in cartoons was created during the X-Men the animated series.
Oh really?
They never did previously before then. And it was designed obviously to catch viewers up, as I said, and what previous episodes happened.
I watched something about with the X-Men cartoon. It was
Go on, Bubba.
they wanted to make it like a not just one and done episodes. They wanted to do like a epic sagas and things like that, because they had all these great stories. They're like, we can't just do that in one episode. We need to extend it. Yeah, I watched something on that.
So, do you want to know how they managed to get it done? Because originally, in the X-Men the animated series, the writers said, we really want to catch viewers up because we're doing these epic sagas, as you just said. And the producers were like, no. Why? And they were like, well, because kids want to know what's going on, and if they miss the last episode, then they're caught up in the story and they understand the narrative. And they're like, kids don't care, they just want to buy toys. They don't care about story. So
I think the other reason I stopped watching cartoons was because the stories got bad.
exactly. So they knew,
Because
obviously.
I wasn't buying the toys anymore.
Exactly. And
As an adult, I really appreciate the narrative of this cartoon.
so when they finally got it through, the way they got it through is they went to producers and they're like, okay, instead of paying us to do 2 more minutes of animation, you can cut that out of the budget, whatever that is,
Oh yeah,
and we'll do a previously on instead. And they're like, so we save money and we get to keep it? And they're like, yes.
that way they were able to make more episodes than they wanted to as well.
Exactly. So
I don't know why I know this. I must have watched something on it recently.
you must have. I watched it, I think, on a YouTube video,
yeah.
like 107 of facts about X-Men the animated
No,
series.
I
or
watched
something
it
like
just on 90s superhero cartoons or something like that.
So that's really cool because I always appreciate that and I like to see it. And also what I really love about Spider-Man the animated series is when different voice actors do the previously on Spider-Man the animated series. Or previously on Spider-Man. And my favourite is Roscoe Lee Brown, because just hearing this Kingpin, he's like, previously on Spider-Man. Your doggo is making a lovely
Yeah, if
noise.
anybody hears lots of background noise, it's my dog. She's digging on the carpet. and
Right.
stuff.
Okay, well we're going to talk over a snort.
Anybody on my YouTube is already used to Luna, and they can't live without her, apparently. I did a stream once where she wasn't on it, and they're like, where's the snoring dog?
And for all Facebook listeners, welcome. You're going to have to get used to Luna whenever we do live episodes here, because she's a part of the show.
Would you stop digging down there, madam?
All right, so we are going to do question 1 to you is, what was your overall opinion of the Alien Costume Part 3?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was a shame that there wasn't more of it, but I really liked the way he defeated Venom, because I completely forgot about that.
I did
I
too.
thought it was a good way to defeat him.
I agree. I thought that once again, the pacing was really good. Like, it was moving, constant.
How is that possible? Do you think that's just sort of like relapsing from the drug? Like
Yeah.
the removal of the symbiote that's in like...
Yeah,
it's
like, because the
still-
symbiote got in Spider-Man's brain.
Yeah.
So I think it maybe there's a piece that's laying dormant or is always going to be a part of Spider-Man in some form or fashion. And because it's with Eddie Brock, the symbiote knows how to activate that and cause him grief.
Yeah.
I just thought, honestly, it felt like what a celebrity probably feels like when they've got a stalker.
Mm.
Because Eddie Brock was like Spider-Man's biggest fan, technically, in a crazy way.
Yeah.
Following him everywhere, knew everything about him, knew about his love interests, his family, where to find him, where to like basically catch him in his most private moments. It really was like Eddie Brock was like a stalker that a celebrity had to like put a restraining order on.
Mm.
Imagine if you put a restraining order on Venom. It's like, we are fucked.
Restrained.
Yeah. We can no longer chase you.
We are in a legal binding documents to be 10 paces standing behind you.
We are no longer allowed to be near a school. So, who is your favourite character of this episode?
We are contractually obligated.
We signed on the dotted line.
Well, obviously Venom, right? And Eddie
Yeah.
Brock.
Yeah,
It was nice to see them do little scenes that were in the actual comics, like Eddie Brock showing up to Aunt May's house and stuff like that. That's straight from the comics.
Yeah.
And just, I liked how cocky he was and everything. Yeah, just good stuff.
Yeah, I loved when he went to go see Aunt May, and he's like, Eddie Brock, oh, so much about you, and she's like, what a nice, polite young man, and you're like, oh, you sneaky fucker, Brock.
He does that in the comic as well.
Does he?
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So while you're doing that, I will say that
In my trade paperback, Spider-Man: Birth of Venom.
Ooh.
This is the first time I read it.
So does he do like?
This is great because this is how, if you look, it starts with Spider-Man in the black costume, and it also has a bit of secret rules for how he got the costume, and it gets into it.
Well, he was just holding it up like a piece of clothing. The
Yeah,
symbiote
well, he
costume.
gets rid of the symbiote and then he starts wearing just a black costume.
Why?
Oh, look at that, and fall it off. So there's a lot of cool scenes that were straight from the comics, like is it at the end here?
Oh, look at that MJ. It's great.
So if you look here, sorry for people just listening to it, but if you look here, this is Eddie Brock's wall, and it's got all of like the Spider-Man newspaper stuff on it as well.
Oh, cool.
So that's in there, and then this is the first ever appearance of Venom right there.
Oh, nice.
That's shot right there. And then Spider-Man 300, which was the big issue, has look, you see how he's working out with the weights right there.
Oh, dude, that's straight out of the show.
Yeah, this is why I really appreciated it. Where's my favourite shot? There's a shot where he's proper lifting as well. Give me a second.
So I love when he's working out because, alright, what I wanted to ask you is, you know, obviously in the last episode in the Bell Tower he becomes Venom, right? What's the series of time between that and showing him working out? Because he is fucking, yeah, like everyone can see there, and just like in the show, he is gigantic. Like when they zoom in on his biceps, and they're like the size of your head.
Oh, they're like swelling as
I
well.
know, and they've got veins, and he's just like, Spider-Man! And he's just pushing up. Do you think that's like a couple weeks after he's had the Venom costume?
Yeah, but I think he's always been jacked. Like, this is him showing up to Aunt May's door. And
Oh my god,
being
look
there.
at him.
And that's a really famous... McFarlane talks about that, where he's like, oh, everyone loves this shot, but I just drew gigantic hands and I took up most of the frame, so I don't have to draw any background. It's like, yeah, shut up, it looks right. Yeah.
Alright, so he's lifting weights. This is why I thought he'd be great, like John Cena would be great, because when he's lifting weights like that,
Yeah.
I could see Cena doing that. You can't see us.
We are Cena.
So, also I noticed that Hank Azaria, as Eddie Brock, pronounces it symbiote instead of symbiote.
What, just like the new film?
Yeah, well, they say symbiote.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No one can get it right. It's symbiote. That's all it is.
Has to be, right?
He's like, you rejected the symbiote, as he was saying it. And I'm like, it's not symbiote.
Symbiote sounds like a song from Lion King. Oh, symbiote, symbiote.
Rodney Salisbury sang that song.
It's true.
So I
just cut another check right there.
I like how obviously he's lifting. You see him like getting jacked up. He's all sweaty.
Swole, bro.
He's getting fucking swole. He goes up to the wall just like in the comic you just saw. And there's all those clippings on Spider-Man. And I love seeing the symbiote or symbiote form over his hand, and he turns around, and I think I posted it on our Twitter, this GIF today. He turns around, and as he turns around, the symbiote forms around Eddie, and for the first time we see Venom ever
Love
outside
seeing
the comics.
the teeth and like the gums like come around.
I do too. I have to say that it's the best animation I've seen in the show yet, with the way that the symbiote forms around Eddie Brock.
Now I always think like, because I know as an artist, I draw some of my art. Well, some of my art looks way better than other, because it just shows how into it I was.
Right.
Where like I get to draw I drew a big panel of Spider-Man swinging, and I've always wanted to do that, so I fucking put the effort in. Spider-Man, big close-up shot. You got the Empire State Building in the background. I was like, I'm spending many hours on this. Do you think maybe with the animators, they're like, well, this symbiote's pretty fucking cool. This would be fun to animate. And maybe they're like, I'm gonna put. What if I did this and stuff? Like I feel like because they're doing a job, right? They have to just knock shit out.
Yeah, by the numbers.
But you get into that job because you're passionate about being creative or in a creative field. So I always feel like when I see slightly better bits of animation, it just means that the animators are into it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, or a good observation, should I say. I really felt like they stepped it up a lot with the symbiote. They really did take their time, as you said, with the teeth and the gums and it just forming around his head. It's kind of like Clayface in Batman the Animated Series. I remember hearing that the artists loved doing Clayface because they got to have fun with that character as well. So it's probably the same. So the first words that we hear out of Venom's mouth, well, we did hear in part 2 the first lines, but for this one, when we see Venom, he goes, "From now on, we're poison to you, Spider-Man. That's why we call ourselves Venom." Venom. And it just, I mean, I love, what do you think about, I mean, we've kind of talked about this, but how do you see Venom sounding any different, or does Venom always sound like that to you?
What do you mean?
Well, because when I read Venom in the comics, I hear Hank Azaria's Venom.
I guess so.
That's the voice I read. It's like I hear Christopher Daniel Barnes' Spider-Man when I read the comics.
When I think of Venom, I think of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 when you start with it. He goes, "We are Venom." I don't know why. That's what it always reminds me.
Sounds like Captain America.
Yeah,
Venom.
but it is just like, "We are Venom."
So to move on, then we see Spider-Man swinging through the city in his old threads, and he just sees the Rhino on the rooftops. Did you find that was funny? Like Rhino was just standing, waiting for him.
And he was like, "I finally found you." I was like, "All you did was stand on the fucking roof, mate."
I've been here for days. Well, we know that
I
Rhino.
think his face though when he sees you, he's like.
We know that Rhino actually doesn't do much because he sits
really
in his
doesn't.
apartment and waits for the phone to ring.
Do you know how many phone calls I missed standing there?
But he says, "You should have stayed in
Do you
black."
feel like the voice actor that does the Shocker is too, like I don't know the word I can do it. It doesn't sound like he sounds like a voice actor. Like when he speaks, it really takes me out of stuff. Like
Really?
I think it works for like Winnie the Pooh and stuff like that, or something like Aladdin where it's a bit silly. But with the Shocker, like and I heard it, and he also did someone else's voice. There's a scene later on with J. Jonah Jameson and his son, and it's when they're launching the spaceship, and the guy being like, "Hey,
That's Jim Cummings. Yeah.
And the way he speaks is like, "And it's amazing from space."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah, imagine if NASA actually had a dude like that. They'd be like, "We need to fire that guy. He's way too over the top."
If you watch that scene, it cracks me up because you have the guy being like, "And welcome to space, oh wow!" And then it just cuts to this one guy like, "T-minus 2 seconds." Like it cuts to this other actor that's like, "Countdown beginning." And it's just like so nonchalant, where the other guy's just like, "Wow." Reminds me of sometimes of, remember the video game Crazy Taxi?
Oh,
Welcome to a crazy taxi.
I wonder if that was Jim Cummings. It could be. He
Could
was fucking
probably be.
in everything. So we got more comments here. Why is it with Spider-Man and Venom just bonded with Eddie? It was like split personality. I think that so basically the question of what I can understand there is that why was Spider-Man still Spider-Man? Well, Eddie
Because he wasn't the perfect host, right?
Exactly.
The other two, they even say like, "Oh, we were made for each other," and
yeah, his anger and everything is perfect. So
and I'm sure over time, since Peter Parker didn't have the symbiote on him as much as Eddie has.
Well, that's why I was asking you about the amount of time that's passed since Eddie became Venom, because he was never that jacked in the show. He's super jacked once he's Venom, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, granted, yes, you can lift weights, but you're not going to get that jacked in a couple of days. Also, I think
I wonder if he's less jacked to begin with in the.
I think with time though, you also accept the symbiote. Like, he fully embraced the symbiote.
Mm-hmm.
He was completely 100% like, yes, you are what I need to get my revenge on Spider-Man. The symbiote wanted revenge on Spider-Man. So I think that split personality came into play and really became a big part of why they're like that. Why they're two beings as one.
Yeah.
Where Spider-Man, even though he was accepting that the symbiote was giving him more power, he was still rejecting it. There was times where he realised he'd gone too far and he questioned it. Eddie Brock will never question that. He's always like, the symbiote is making the decisions for me.
I couldn't find it, but this is a pretty cool scene where Eddie Brock takes him back to the bell tower where it happened, and he uses
that would have been cool.
He uses the symbiote to make like a preacher outfit out of it.
Oh, wow.
And he ties Spider-Man up. He's going to kill him where he was made, or where Peter rejected him.
Do you like, because Eddie in the books, for all our listeners at home right now, not watching the video, do you like Eddie as a crew cut blonde or a crew cut ginger?
Well, my first was from the comic. Well, actually, I don't know.
The show.
I guess my first was from the show, but I got to go with the McFarlane on it. I think that'll trump all with everything.
Okay. I mean, Cena's crew cut as well. I keep on going back to Cena. I think he is...
You know, he used to have that haircut before, like, in his early days.
Yeah, there's a movie called 12 Rounds I was looking at the other day, and he has, like, a proper crew cut in that movie.
If you look at young John Cena, his whole gimmick was he was supposed to be, like, a Terminator.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Look.
Oh, wow. He's so Eddie Brock there.
If you look at his haircut there.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez, guys.
Spider-Man always giving me...
Spider-Man made me super tan for some reason.
He took my job, my apartment, my health, my reputation. So I love when...
Oh my god, yeah. Even younger there, like he would have been...
Oh, my nose
great.
is so itchy. Sorry. Yeah, he's perfect Eddie Brock.
So
He's perfect.
I agree.
Okay.
Like, his face has changed so much now where he's got, like, big ears and a big fluffy nose.
So, I love when Rhino sees Spidey and he notices, obviously, he's no longer in the black costume. And he says to him, you should have stayed in black, because I'm going to dirty you up bad.
Yeah.
Jokes, because I've got a lot of time
That's
on
why
my
I
hands.
usually wear black shoes, because they don't look so dirty. Especially in New York City, which is a shithole.
You can see my apartment. It's a bed and a phone.
It's all the way in Jersey.
That was a really good Rhino.
Thanks.
They keep on showing Rhino's sculpted arse in this show.
Oh my god, yes,
Did you
they
see
do.
it?
Yeah.
Every time he like bends over to charge, you see like a perfect
He's
sculpted
going
man
for
arse.
the Mr. Universe competition.
Yeah, and you
It's
see
the universe.
you see Venom's arse later on when Venom's chasing
Did
Spider-Man.
you
up the
notice
wall.
that Venom had like a butt cheek head?
Yes.
I thought that was weird.
I know. I was wondering about that. It looks like a fucking proper arse on his head.
Yeah, I didn't get why they put the slit down the middle.
Yeah. So, as Rhino and Spider-Man are fighting on the rooftop, Shocker shows up as well.
In about down out of nowhere.
Shocker on coke. So this is what I was really confused about, and I didn't look it up, but it must have been a thing, but I can't believe it was a thing back in 1995. Spider-Man says, Rhino and Shocker? How did they get together? Computer dating? And I'm like, computer dating? 1995?
Wow.
Like, it's not like Tinder was around or anything like that. And I
Mm.
obviously, yeah, there was like AOL, but was AOL like 1995? I don't remember going on the internet in 1995 and like going into chat rooms and shit.
There must have been something.
Can you imagine Rhino and like Shocker in a chat room together? It's Shocker's like, where are you from? He's like, Jersey.
My username is Josie316. What's yours? The Shockmeister, 1992.
Oh, I just...
Everyone used to always have the little dates afterwards, didn't they?
I know. I just... And can you imagine like how many times Shocker would make like Shocker puns with dating, everything like that?
He's like, when you see me, it's gonna be a shock.
Because you're so ugly. Fuck!
Mattress face. So we've got this whole scene.
When you see me, you'll be feeling sparks. Shocker sparks. There'll be sparks between us.
Rhino's like, how about Rhino?
I know. Oh dear.
So, I do love this whole scene though. As much as we're making fun of it, it felt so Spider-Man to me with him taking on Shocker and Rhino on the rooftops and like quipping as he was taking them out.
I do love that shot of Rhino waiting. It's great.
Yeah, he's just like standing there all proud. And he's like, found him.
Yeah.
It's been 3 days.
I finally found you. It's like, you were just standing on a rooftop.
So Spider-Man takes down both Venom and Shocker, and as they're out for the count... oh no, sorry, it's the other way around. Spider-Man is buried by a Daily Bugle billboard, which I thought was a nice touch, and like JJ pointed.
General would be like, that cost me a fortune.
Yeah. I like how Spider-Man's taken out, and just when Rhino and Shocker have the upper hand, the Black Hand of Venom comes into play, and he just totally fucking owns both of them. And I love the expression on their faces, because you don't see Venom. Dude, your dog is crazy. Is this a mad moment?
This is a mad moment.
Holy shit. I love Venom so much! What do you want from our lives?
She is just trying to interrupt the podcast.
I know.
She's like, hey, attention to me.
She's like a little symbiote.
She's like, I want to bond with you.
Usually she has a bad moment after she's had a poo, so I'm assuming she's had a poo.
What, in the house?
No, I had to go downstairs.
We are mad moments.
Come here, crazy butt.
Fucking hell.
Come on.
Okay, so let's get back to it. Jesus. So we've got...
We bond with you.
So we have Venom taking out the bad guys, webbing them up, Spider-Man coming to, and he's like, who did that? Because that's not my webbing. And what I love most about this scene, it's one of my favourite scenes of the whole episode, is Eddie Brock chooses to be Eddie Brock for this moment when we first see Spider-Man. He's not Venom. He's just standing there over the rubber. He's like, need a hand, pal? And I love how he just delivers that line. And he's like, Eddie Brock? I think I had the lines written down here. Where he's like, how did you get up here? And he reveals to Spider-Man that he knows that he's Peter Parker, and I really like how he does that, because he's just totally got the upper hand. You know that this dude means business.
I love cocky Eddie.
I do too. He's just taken out Rhino and the Shocker, so there's no way he's not going to be a badass dude. And he also like has great lines for Spider-Man through this whole episode, actually. And I like how Spider-Man is no match for Venom, because they have a big battle, and Venom just like takes him out with ease, and he puts him in a headlock. And I really like the lines he says as he puts him in a headlock, because Eddie just like pulls back the Venom head, and he's like, "We're your old clothes, kid. Your hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
The symbiote that Peter Parker tried to destroy, Eddie Brock has embraced. We've bonded." And as he says bonded, he turns back into Venom again. It's so cool. So Spider-Man escapes, warns Brock of the dangers of the symbiote, but Brock has already just gone full Venom. He's like, I am full Venom, I am ready to fucking kill you. And he shares with Spider-Man the knowledge of the universe it's provided with him, as we see a cutaway.
This is one thing I worry about the Venom movie, is that what's his motive to be with Eddie Brock, the symbiote?
That's true.
They completely ruined the reason why that
That's
they're together.
totally true.
Like, it's like, I hate Spider-Man. I also hate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We hate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We are Venom.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be like, I Alien.
Like, if they were in an internet dating chat, that's like,
Yeah.
they would be like, we need to date.
That's how their matches come up.
Yeah, they go into a chat room, it's, we hate Spider-Man, it's
Yeah.
one member, Eddie Brock, and then the
Yeah.
symbiote joins.
Bling.
Yeah. I love you.
We know.
It's true. That actually now really puts me off the film, where I'm like, well, what's his motive for being the symbiote?
There is no motive besides the one they'll make up where he's like, he's crazy, and he likes crazy.
No, I bet they'll be like, oh, the symbiote needs a host or it will die, or something like that, and they'll be like, oh, well.
But why Eddie? Because once again, it could be
Because he's
anybody.
just a down on his luck guy.
So, Eddie says in this cutaway scene, we are now part of a life force that has existed since the dawn of time. Imagine what you've turned down, Parker. Think of all the knowledge. We've seen thousands of worlds, millions of civilizations, learned many secrets, always but with one goal, above all else, to survive. And now we've shared these secrets with Eddie Brock. and we're very happy together. I like how you ended with like, and we're really happy.
Yeah.
But I love all that because it just in a paragraph it gives you complete updated information on that's how long the symbiote's been around, and it's seen everything you could possibly imagine. And Peter rejected it, and Eddie Brock has embraced it, and he has foreknowledge of basically endless civilizations.
I'd love that.
I think it's awesome. I wouldn't mind that as well, although turning into Venom. Would you want to be Venom?
Yeah.
Would you?
Oh yeah. It would
Why?
be dope.
Why?
I could just hop out the window and jump about.
that was your first. Not like I have endless strength, endless knowledge. I can change my appearance.
I would love to have full knowledge of the universe, because that would just for inner peace. That would be brilliant to be like those unanswered questions like what is out there, what is life, and somebody to be like, I've been around since the beginning of time, so this is the real truth about everything. And you're like, well, fuck, that's amazing. Like that would be the best bit. But yeah, the strength, everything. I mean, what are the side effects of fucking having a symbiote? Is that you guys are just like really chummy?
Yeah, like you can't have a wank without it being like, what are you doing?
They could wank off for you. It'd be great.
It's like, you want to look a little bigger? You're like, yeah, all right.
No, not that big.
I think I would, but I don't know if I'd want it to affect who I am, because it does change you.
That's true. It does make you more of a dick, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it makes you fully fucking evil and twisted, and yeah, just a dickhead.
Yeah. I guess that is the negative side.
Yeah. So Spider-Man continues to fight and realizes that Venom doesn't trigger his spider sense, which I thought was a really cool thing.
I like how they explained it as well.
Yeah.
It's like he knows like
how to block it.
Yeah.
How to block it, which is great. Which tells me once again, as we were saying before, why does Spider-Man hallucinate Venom? Is because I think there's a piece of like the symbiote still like in his head that will never be able to take over. But there must be something where it knows.
It's just the after effects. It's like when people do acid,
Right.
like it's in their system for such a long time that they might like later on in life have a bit of acid kick back in on them. And people say like if you crack like
Talking from experience.
No. If you crack your spine in like a certain way, you could get a bit of a mini high back from it. I think it's the same type of thing.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's actually more of a logical explanation. So Spider-Man's webbed up in Venom's web. He's helpless, as Venom says, you know nothing about us, but we know everything about you. You'll see us everywhere, even in your nightmares.
Which he does like immediately.
Yeah, and I like how Venom could have taken out Spider-Man right there, but he chose to savor the moment. He's like, you know what, I'm going to leave now, and I'm going to let you fucking suffer.
He wanted to torture him, like with my apartment, my health. He's doing like
Yeah.
He's like going down his grocery list for Spider-Man.
He's like, so that first one was for my apartment.
May, Mary Jane, my secret identity.
JJ. So yeah, I do like all that, but I like how Spider-Man, once he realizes like, okay, Eddie's with the symbiote now, we've got a big problem. What am I going to do about this? He thinks logically. He's like, all right, go to where his apartment is, and let's look for clues. Which I thought was a cool superhero thing, where he's like, all right, well, okay, I've got to think. I can't take the symbiote down with strength. I've got to use my head. Let's figure this out. So, heads to Eddie's apartment, finds a like receipt, I think it was, for like Atlas weightlifting equipment, and he has to head to the Daily
We are
Bugle.
Venom, but we purchase our weights.
We don't steal them. We like to
Do it by the book.
We have morals.
Yeah.
We have high standards when it comes to workout equipment.
We are on dating sites. We must be lifting.
Oh, dear.
So Spider-Man heads to Daily Bugle to look up in the yellow pages where this place is. And I was thinking, like, I guess, yeah, okay, Daily Bugle, you know there's going to be yellow pages there, so you can look it up. Although you could probably go anyway, just go to a fucking, like, phone booth. But that just shows the time, because he's like, oh, I need the yellow pages to find this place. Yet, internet dating exists. So once again, I was like, can you go on the
I
internet?
would love to know what internet dating looked like in 1995.
We should definitely
There's
try and look.
Comment on there.
Hey, Will, this is NTM Studios from Instagram.
And what?
NTM
Oh,
Studios.
hey, how's it going, man?
So, Spider-Man discovers that the Atlas place, and he gets the phone number. Now, before he calls the Atlas place, Did you see the image? So there's this big Jack dude that's doing this Arnold Schwarzenegger pose in the Yellow Pages, right?
Yeah,
And then it turns into Venom. Did you see the head of the dude before it turns into Venom? It's Todd McFarlane's Peter Parker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the same hairstyle, the same sort of look in the chin.
Oh.
It's his version of Peter Parker, which I thought was a really nice touch because obviously this is paying tribute to that story you were just sharing with all the viewers. So I thought that was a nice little touch. So he calls up and he finds out the address. He says, I'm Eddie Brock. Where's the address? Okay, now I've got Brock's address. So JJ then wheels in his son, and his son's still in his hospital gown. And I thought it was so weird. Like,
yeah,
you think
I didn't even think about that.
you think you let him change in the clothes before he's like, look, my boy, hey, and he's like, he's not wearing any underwear. Don't look downstairs. And everyone gathers around to like wish him well, and he's like, Dad, can I like go home and shower and change? He's like, no, son, you're gonna have to fucking deal with this. And I love how JJ doesn't care about his son's mental health.
Oh, he brushes it off so much. But that I actually appreciated that because that's more of like that be a man thing, that like that old fashioned thinking of like people that don't understand people have mental health problems.
Right.
They think it's all gobbledygook. It's like, no, be a fucking man. Stop thinking about that stuff. So what he says there, I really liked, where he's like, they're just dreams. They'll just go away.
Yeah, so I've got the line. So he says, so he's like, my son's going to go back and fly another spaceship or whatever he says. And John goes, sure, as long as I can shake the memories of the crash and that black alien ooze. And he's like, dreams go away. You'll be fine. He'll be fine!
Yeah.
And I love how he's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, but the
we're
way
fine.
he says like, dreams go away, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's just like,
Don't talk
don't
about
be a
this shit.
fucking puss.
Yeah.
That's what he's thinking.
You're in a hospital gown. Stop being a pussy.
That is that old fashioned mentality of like, oh, these. Oh, you know, back in my day, people didn't have mental problems. All this new gobbly fucking PG era shit. Fuck you, ah! That's what he's thinking there.
It's true, he is. So we then have Peter going to change into a spider costume in the alleyway. And I love how Brock chooses to reveal himself again in like Spider-Man's most private and like almost like intimate moment, because when he changes into a spider costume, he's like, I'm safe, my spider sense isn't off. The only thing I hate about Spider-Man the animated series is the art style. Everyone looks overly buff.
Oh, really?
Peter, I couldn't catch the rest of it.
Yeah, the comments are fading away once I notice them.
We are fading. I love the art style in Spider-Man.
I like that
series.
Everyone's super buff.
I love it. I love the round like tennis ball muscles.
Just like, I am fucking
yeah. He's fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, I like how Peter's in the alleyway and he's like freaking out about Brock and he's having images, and then suddenly Brock is just sticking to the wall. And he's just like, oh, look who discovered your little secret. He's like, who would want to know about that? J. Jonah Jameson? And I realized that they almost, because it made me think about us as kids. And it's like a brotherly relationship where one brother threatens to tell on the other brother to a parent.
Yeah,
where it's
very
like,
much like that.
Who would like to know about this? Maybe Dad would like to know about this. Let me go run and tell him. And Peter's like, no, don't tell Dad.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, so I did like that because Eddie does pose as like an older brother who's just like, you're so cool.
Because and it makes sense because they share that bond with the symbiote, that it is like that brotherhood. You know?
Yeah. We got a comment, which is 2 comments. While I'm watching this amazing show, the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse trailer is out. Oh, okay. Check that. But there's a Miles Morales movie coming out. That's like, it's almost like Pixar
yeah,
animation.
I did see the trailer for that. Yeah.
And then also, didn't they recently in the comics say that Ben's spider sense can sense venom? I don't know.
Well, that's really cool.
That's cool. Yeah. So Spider-Man and Venom head to a rooftop, and I really like this line. I had to put it in because Spidey webs up Venom's arm, and this is how like unintimidated Venom is by Spider-Man in general. He's like, "Look, streamers! Now it is a party!" Like he's just having a great time. I know you're just like, but I thought it was funny. I like how he's like completely fucking with Spider-Man the whole time, talking about Mary Jane, talking about all of that shit, and he webs up Spider-Man and holds him over the rooftop, and Now, for me, I know you're reading comments right now, but for me, when I saw this scene again, I watched this morning, this episode, when Spider-Man's being dangled over the rooftop and there's that big crowd below and everyone's like trying to get a glimpse of Spider-Man, what do you remember about the scene as a kid? Because when I was watching this, I was like, I remember watching this scene as a kid. Because I remember being
that shot very well.
I do too. Yeah, being strung
You know
up.
why? Because as kids we're like, oh my god, his identity's gonna be revealed.
Yeah, and like he's completely helpless. His arms and his legs are bound, and he's.
I was like, they know he's a white guy with brown hair now.
Yeah, I guess that's they can narrow that
you
down.
can see like all the people that have like bets on what race Spider-Man was. Were like, God damn it!
I love how when the mask falls down to the floor, there's that one dude who's like, "Hey, dude, look, I'm Spider-Man," and he puts on the mask. And do you know who does that voice?
No.
Rodney Salisbury.
Oh, really?
Rodney did that voice. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. But I just love. He's like, "Hey, dude, look, I'm Spider-Man," and he does this like cool Spidey pose.
The rest of that thing that someone said before about them being buff, he said Peter doesn't look like a teenager. Instead, he looks like a 28-year-old buff porn star.
I was just spit my beer all over
I'm
my
28.
Yeah, you're a total buff porn star.
Good in another life.
I don't know what porn you've been watching, but good on you, because those dudes are buff.
Just people saying hello. I'll keep the chat. I've got the chat up here, folks, on YouTube. So if you want to say anything.
So JJ's obviously in the crowd. He grabs the camera. He tries to focus on Spider-Man's face, but Spider-Man's wriggling. He's like, "Quit moving around so much!" And
I love the excuse of him not being caught on camera was because JJ's like, I need to get this. How the fuck do I use this?
Yeah, because if JJ let someone operate the camera properly, they probably would have caught it and got focused. I also...
I wish he said, "Where's Parker when you need him?" That's where I was.
That would have been
for.
great. That's true. That would have been a really nice touch. I love how JJ, though, in this show, we talked about this before, but he did it in this scene. He can take non-curse words and make them sound like the most brutal insult. He goes, "This is my one chance to finally ID that wall-crawling rat bag." And you're like, oh, fuck.
Rat bag.
Like, you're just, rat bag sounds like an insult. You're like, Jesus Christ.
It's what a lot of modern-day wrestlers do nowadays, where they say, like, "You schmuck," and you're like, "Oh!
Burn!
You call him a schmuck!"
Did you see that last night? Hashtag schmuck. Venom continues to taunt Spider-Man, and he's like, oh, Mary Jane's gonna be lonely when you're gone. I love that.
Someone's gonna have to look after her. Don't worry, I'll take care of that.
Yeah, I thought that was so
I'd be like,
cool.
Mary Jane!
So Spider-Man.
You can't talk to me!
Spider-Man breaks free of the webbing, and he swings away, and he lands on a flagpole, and he rips the flag to cover up his face because his mask is obviously gone. Now, did you see how he landed on the flagpole?
No.
He lands directly on his groin.
Really?
And when he did it, I was like, oh! And he's like, not even flinching, just gonna... He literally lands on that pole. For anyone that has access to this episode or is gonna watch it after this review, please watch that, because he lands right on his fucking mummy daddy button and doesn't even move an inch.
Mummy daddy button? I've never heard that.
Fine, his web and tackle. How about that one?
Yeah. Where'd you get mum and daddy button from?
I think I've seen it in a movie once, and someone said, I like it.
I'm not complaining.
He's like, right in the mummy daddy button. I think they were like Irish or Scottish or something. Yeah.
It's me. Who were we saying was Scottish? Oh, Craven.
Craven, the fucking good dad.
Punch you right in your mummy daddy button.
That's something JJ would say. He's like, that wall-crawling rat bag's gonna get a punch right to his mummy daddy button. So.
I just want to take a second to really appreciate this beer.
It's so nice. It's such a good fucking beer. Okay, Peter goes to meet Mary Jane after this encounter because he has a date with her. And he's freaking out, and Brock is already there waiting with her. And I love this as well. Like, it's like Brock knows Peter's schedule. He's like, okay, 8 o'clock tonight, movie, got a date with Mary Jane. It's like if there's internet dating, there's also like an iCalendar, and he's just like logged into Peter's iCalendar. He's like, all right, what's Peter doing later?
I'm sure you asked it in a way like Alexa. He's like, Alexa, well, like Symbiote, what does Peter usually do on Wednesday nights?
Peter usually on Wednesday nights likes to go to the movies with Mary Jane.
Really? Just what, a movie every Wednesday?
Tonight he's seeing Solo. We liked it. It was pretty good. So once Brock shows up and MJ's like, oh, I've met your friend Brock. I've been waiting.
I thought when he ripped his mask, it would have gone into this.
I know, we talked about that in the last episode as well. I mean, it would have been great for all the listeners. It's the Fantastic Four scene where Spider-Man doesn't have a costume, so he goes to the Fantastic Four, puts on a costume, and puts a paper bag over his head to cover up his identity.
It's right after... I forgot that the Fantastic...
Well, look at Hobgoblin there. He looks straight out of the animated series.
Yeah. I forgot to say that Reed Richards is the one that helps him get rid of the symbiote.
Oh.
That's why he. That's where the famous costume came from, because he leaves.
So
he put a paper
hang
bag
on.
over
So
his
where's
head.
the bell tower scene come into play?
Oh, fuck me if I know. Well,
if he
you know
helps him
that
get rid of it-
Eddie Brock comes after Venom. You know that, right? When Venom was made, the reason he looks like a big fucking monster
Oh, because they didn't know there was a dude under
is
there.
because Tommy Farley was just like, you need to draw like a muscly alien thing.
Right.
And Eddie Brock was added later.
Okay.
So I don't know, to be honest. I have to reread it.
So I love how paranoid Peter gets, like obviously more and more. But did you see when he sees Brock outside the movie theater, he like shoves Brock's hand and he grabs MJ by the wrist? I was like, whoa, like abuse of Parker. Did you see what he did? He like shoved Brock, which I'm like, all right, well whatever, that's fine, it's the bad guy. Then he like grabs MJ's wrist. He's like, come on, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? But I love how he's making his way to the subway, and more as he's going to the subway, he's like picturing Venom everywhere. He's seeing him on billboards, he's seeing him behind him, and MJ looks and she's like, no one's following us, and he's freaking the fuck out. And he manages to get on the train right before Brock manages to enter the train. And I love like how Mary Jane is like, Peter, what's going on? Because if you think about it, he's like, we're going to a movie. No, we're not. Brock's a weirdo. Come with me.
But I like how he's a fucking weirdo. Like,
yeah, I do like how he said that.
If I said that to my fiance, she'd be like, all right, I got it, right? But I guess their relationship isn't established enough
they're
yet.
like going on a date. But I also found this a little unbelievable. Once again, we're in relationships where we know the person, because he goes, Mary Jane, do you trust me? And she's like, but, and he's like, do you trust me? And she replies with, I think I do, yes. And Peter says, then don't ask me any more questions. And she's like, okay. And I was like, if I said that to my wife, she'd be like, no, I am going to ask you fucking 50 questions.
Just walk and talk, baby. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, just like tell me what the fuck is going on. So Peter goes home to Aunt May, and Aunt May's doing dishes, and she's like, back so soon? He's like, yeah, we had to leave. And she's like, why? Now, once again, I'm making up a story for Aunt May in my head. But I still like to think...
like there was a guy running out the window?
That's what I... Because she's like, pretend to do dishes because Peter's home. And like,
good for her.
She totally had a dude over, and she's like, Peter's on a date, so I'm going to have fucking another dude named Ben over.
Which is having like a poker night or something like that. She's got to pay the bills somehow.
And I think she was doing dishes.
With like Dr. Octopus. It's gotten way out of control. This would be a great story, actually.
I want to see that episode.
Like, so Aunt May, she's really behind the bills, and she does not tell Peter. And she gets, like, you know that movie, The House, where they
with Will Ferrell? Yeah,
so it'd be like that, but with Aunt May. But not like a casino. She starts, like, someone talks to her, like, oh, well, you know, you can come play poker. She goes over to one of, like, the people in, like, the retirement homes, plays poker, wins a lot of money. I was like, this is a good way to pay bills. And then she gets too involved in it, and who comes to the table that hears about high-stakes gambling game? The Kingpin.
Oh,
and the Kingpin cheats and clears her out, and now she's in a debt to the Kingpin, Aunt May, and then keeps it all from Peter.
And then she has to sleep with the Kingpin to earn her money back.
She has to Wilson fist her way out of it. No.
That's
Isn't that a good story?
I love that.
I fucking read that.
What would we call it? Aunt May's Casino. No, that's too boring.
No, because it's not. She doesn't run a full casino. It's all about.
Oh, luck may have it. No?
Luck may have it.
I thought it was really good.
Ooh.
I thought that was good. No, I love that. And, I mean, in my narrative, she had a dude over. She was having a date. She made him a nice meal. And then Peter came home and she's like, shit, that's Peter. And he's gone down in the basement to crawl out the window. And she's like, do dishes because he's being
like,
loud.
Why is my spidey sense going on? It's like, oh, guy sweating in the basement. He's like, spidey sense? He's like, what?
Oh my god. Nate Brown said, call it Aunt Bay. I really like that casino. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like her rise and fall.
I'll put that one in the back pocket.
Yeah, she's like, I remember that time where I was so rich I didn't know what to do with myself. I was hiding money in the mattress, and then this
I
big...
was doing cocaine off of young men and young ladies.
I'm only 28, but I've done so many drugs. I look 50. So the doorbell rings, and it's Eddie Brock. And I love how he's like, he's not letting Parker go. Like, no matter where Parker goes, he's telling him, you're not safe. No matter where you go, I'm going to be there. And I love, as I said earlier, he's super polite to Aunt May, and she's like, what a nice young man. And Peter shoves him outside, and they have this scuffle outside. Now, anyone looking out their window is going to see Peter shoving this dude up against the tree, and then this dude suddenly becoming this big black monster. You're breaking out the comic. Is it in the comic?
No, but that scene is really, really good in the comic.
What, when he goes to visit Aunt May?
Talking.
So, did you notice that? So, Peter, like, shoves him, and then Brock pushes a big tree.
And then just, like, moves it back
and Peter
nonchalantly.
and that's not how trees work. You can't shove a tree, and Peter just puts it back into place, and he's like, it'll grow fine. It's fine. It's like, no, that tree's going to die now.
Yeah, and, like, how did he rip all the fucking roots out? There was nothing that popped up,
Aunt May's like,
from the ground.
Aunt May's like, your Uncle Ben planted that tree. He's like,
oh no!
He's buried under there, too!
He's the one in the basement. They've been keeping Ben, like, he's still alive.
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to completely go off topic for a second, because I've got a fucked up story to tell you that I read yesterday.
Okay.
About someone buried. So, a husband, was planting potatoes in his garden, and as he was planting this flower bed...
Hang on, just to interrupt. Here's the really cool thing that happens. So, he's trying to, like, put his arm around Aunt May, and Spider-Man is struggling to hold
him.
it.
Don't touch
her. And the symbiote starts coming out of his fingers.
That's it.
He's just talking to Aunt May. Aunt May has no idea where the symbiote's going, and then, like, he punches his way out. I love that.
That's cool. That's
like
really cool.
Like, oh, I could reveal your secret right now, and like stuff like that.
That's all right. Back to my story, because thinking about Uncle Ben being buried has made me think about this. So, a man was planting potatoes in his garden. He was digging, and he found a human skull and remains in his garden. So he's like, first thing I'm going to go do is tell my wife. Like, holy shit, there's
not the police.
No, well, because his wife was home, so he's like,
because the wife made it.
So he went to his wife. He's like, I've just found fucking like human remains in the garden.
She was just like,
and the wife was like, yeah, that's my ex-husband. And he's like, what? And she's like, he would come home drunk constantly, and he beat me. And one night,
could you imagine if Sydney just told you that, or if Chloe just told me that? Like, if you found that, she's like, yeah, that's like my.
That's crazy.
You know the relationship we have?
Yeah.
That's what happened to the last guy.
Well, to be fair, not that I'm justifying murder, but she said he would come home and he would beat me all the time. And one night he came home drunker than usual, and he beat me up too bad, and I had enough, and I took an axe to him, and I chopped him. I killed him. I then chopped him up and put him back. I buried him in the garden. She said, bury it back up, and like, let's not talk about this. And he loved her. He's like, this is my wife. I knew she had an ex-husband, but the ex-husband just like didn't come home from work one day. Everyone thought that he left, because that's what she told the police when they came over. They're like, do you know your husband's missing? And she's like, I'm worried.
What time period is this?
This was like 10 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
And they're like, where is he?
No,
She's like, he never came home from work.
The police must have, like, detectives must have gone in her house and investigated.
Probably, but what are they going to do? They can't find anything.
Yeah, but you could still.
Do you just say he never came home from work?
For blood and all of that stuff.
I suppose so.
Sink into the tile. You watch Making a Murder. They
That's
fucking did all that stuff in that person's garage with this blood seeping through into the concrete and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
So the husband did not tell the police, but she obviously has been caught, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to tell you the story. And I don't know why, but the police eventually came, and she did confess to the husband's murder. But it wasn't like the husband was dead for
like you
years.
just cut out like all the juicy bits of the story.
Well, I don't know that bit, because it didn't have that. The juicy bit is like, there's a dead dude in our back garden.
But
Yeah, it's my ex-husband.
Like, anyway, she got caught, now she's in jail. I'm like, no, what was the lead up?
I don't know.
That's like, you what you told me is like, that's the pitch for what I'm going to watch on this season of television. I'm like, oh, great! And I turn it on, it's the last episode. I was like, I just missed all of the middle.
So after they have this big scuffle, we'll go back to the episode now. After Eddie and Peter have this big scuffle, and he saves the tree that Uncle Ben planted.
Don't add that little extra bit to it.
He's like, basically, like, he lets out this. You know, you've been watching Star Trek lately, and you know we were making fun of Khan when what's his face, William Shatner says that. Spider-Man does the same thing with Brock, because he's holding the tree. He's like, Brock, and he screams at the top of his lungs, and like, it's once again, it's Christopher Daniel Barnes like bringing his like crazy game to this role. Every now
You
and
can't escape me!
then, I'll chase you to the ends of the earth. So Spider-Man decides that he's going to get the upper hand on Brock. He's tired of being fucking stalked and being caught like in the most vulnerable situation. So he goes to Brock's apartment and he redecorates it with newspapers of Brock being fired. How many newspapers were reporting on a journalist being fired? Did you see? So he decorates whole walls in Brock's apartment with like journalist fired, Daily Bugle journalist fired, and there's like front page articles of Brock's face. What?
So how did he get that? Like, is he left? Like, I guess what Venom just dicked around somewhere else for a little while.
Yeah, Venom like I'm gonna go see that movie there. We're gonna go.
Oh, really? Why? Well, this actor's in it. There's all this whole thing around it. Well, that sounds pretty good.
Imagine if Brock's really
We'll pay
enjoying
for
it.
it legally.
But you imagine if Brock's really enjoying it and the symbiote's like, we don't like this. And he's like, shut up, this is the best part.
No, we do.
We're bored. We want popcorn. He's like, you already ate.
No, we're on a diet. We're trying to be fit. But we want it. We see snacks.
We
want Sour Patch Kids.
So Brock comes back to his apartment, and yeah, wherever he's been going, maybe he's been on the internet dating sites again, I have no idea, but he comes back to his apartment, it's redecorated with all these articles that I can't believe a newspaper would report, let alone 50 of them, but they're all over the place, and he fucking loses his shit, and Spider-Man like pokes his head around the window, and he basically, now Spider-Man feels like, okay, I've got the upper hand now, I want him to get angry because I want him to chase me because I've got a plan. Now, Brock, or Venom, bursts through his wall of his apartment, right?
I love it. Is this to avoid breaking glass? He just breaks the whole fucking window off?
You say that, but it doesn't really matter because we'll get into censorship later, but you see massive shards of broken glass. Like
Oh, really?
They did not hold back. You hear a sound effect, and I tried to listen to like see if there was an actual breaking glass sound effect, but with the rubble, it's just kind of like a generic sound effect. But you see giant chunks of glass fly out of there, because I thought that too. But I was like, wow, they didn't fucking hold back.
I hate when like walls break in cartoons and it's like that, just like perfect brick. Like there was just a bit of loose.
Oh yeah, it looked like someone.
Cement.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, there was exactly. It's like a perfect square line that's just got some bits of other square lines in it.
It's like a puzzle piece.
Yeah, it was just like a puzzle piece. That's a good analogy. So Spider. Leads Venom down into the subway. I don't know why, but this is my favourite shot of the whole episode. I have no explanation besides just how Spider-Man it is. Spider-Man's being chased by Venom, and he's kind of injured because he's been knocked off a building. And a train comes by in the subway. And as it's coming by, Spider-Man just leaps onto the train, and he sticks to the train. And he's got that pose where both his hands and his legs are sticking to it, like a frog. And for some reason, that shot, I was like,
my favourite shot
so cool.
of the show comes later.
Okay.
Alright,
Bane, that comes later.
I would have thought that the sound of the subway would have been a bit loud for the symbiote.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Like what's
that loud.
Yeah, but what's the difference between the decibels of a bell tower standing next to it and the decibel levels of a train going past? You know, when you're in London and you're waiting for that tube and it just
That's true. It is pretty loud.
fucking
The
loud.
vibrations are loud. You can feel them.
You can feel it coming. It shakes.
Yeah.
But the train scene, they put that in the Spider-Man video game.
Oh really?
Yeah, in the animated series one.
We need to play that later.
Yeah, you fight Venom on the train.
Okay, so that's my favourite shot. We'll get to your favourite shot in a bit. As I said, I don't know why. Besides, it just looks so cool with Spider-Man just been like stick.
Well, it's a bit like the Matrix, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very much like the Matrix, and I love that film. And I love how it just Spider-Man, like the train's not slowing down. He just sticks to it and he goes. And I really like seeing that image. So Venom catches up, and this scene is also one that sticks out and reminds me of my childhood. Like I remember this train scene so much.
Really?
Yeah, because for me, I was so scared of Venom in this train scene. Not just, I mean, in the show, in this episode, yes, he's stalking Peter. Yes, he's intimidating. Yes, he's always got the upper hand. But on this train, because Peter's on the roof and he sees Venom, and then there's this mist shot, and then Venom disappears. And
Yeah, I
like,
love
where
that.
the fuck is he?
And he's under it. Like,
And he's under it, and he's a creature, and he's suddenly like really scary. he's alien. He's like Freddy Krueger. He's just like
got a butt head.
So he does ruin it for me though, because I was watching it again. I was like, I'm still intimidated. Like watching this scene, I was like, I'm still intimidated by Venom. I was like, that's scary shit. But then Venom totally ruins it for me because he pops up onto the roof with Spider-Man. He's like, ticket, please. And I'm like, and it's done. And then it even more ruins it for me, even though I love this, because Spider-Man knocks Venom off the train. He's like, that's not going to slow him down. And suddenly they cut to this parked like 18-wheeler truck, and Eddie's in the front seat, and Venom forms over him again, and he's suddenly like,
that was another thing. I'm not gonna get it out.
No,
But
yeah.
in the comic, that there's these two people driving a truck, and like he's sitting in the back of it, and like
what, like a hitchhiker?
yeah, he's a hitchhiker.
Okay, so two things about Venom in a truck. Well, listen to this.
I can look and listen.
Okay, so first of all, I love me some Trucker Venom. I think Trucker Venom would be
There's like
an
a whole,
awesome side story.
There is I was about to say there is a single. I think it's right here. There's a single issue of Trucker Venom.
Like, I can see Venom on a two-way radio, like, cracking jokes.
Look, he gets off of a truck and he goes into like one of those diners,
Yeah.
and like he gets back like in a truck after that. But keep talking.
Okay, so, like, I can see, like, him stopping for snacks, like, on the two-way radio. Plus, also, he's never alone.
We want jerky.
Yeah, he's never alone, though. It's not like he's going to fall asleep at the wheel, because he's got the symbiote to talk to. So he's like, I'm getting sleepy, symbiote, tell me the joke. The symbiote's like,
Tell me the joke.
The symbiote's like, what do you call something we hate? He's like, Spider-Man? He's like, yeah, Spider-Man. You know me so well.
Well, what do we hate? And it's red and blue all over. Spider-Man. Yeah. Spider-Man.
One day he's like, no, a bruised raspberry. Got ya.
We hate raspberries.
We do.
And then finally, the other thing about this scene is that the truck would never be able to catch up with that train. Because Eddie gets off, it's a parked 18-wheeler. It's not like it's driving next to the train and he takes over it. He has to go and find that 18-wheeler, sneak into it, and then catch up to a train that's probably like 2 miles ahead of it by now, if not more. He's never going to catch up to it. But it's cartoons and we don't care.
I can't find it, but it's like one of my favorite McFarlane pages of all time. It's like him in the back of a car, and it's like a really close shot on Venom's eyes as well.
I don't know.
God damn it.
Alright, move on. So, Spider-Man...
Hydro Man.
Oh, God. Dude, they used so much of McFarlane for the animated series, didn't they?
This was the top-selling book at the time before Jim Lee's X-Men.
Like, that looks like the animated series, and as much as everybody's, of course, welcome to their iteration of Spider-Man and what they think it looks like, the comment before where it's like, they're too bulky, like, I look at McFarlane and I'm like, that's Spider-Man the animated series, and that's what I love the most. Like, look at that Venom there.
Yep.
Look at that Venom. That is animated series. Look at that Peter Parker. That's just amazing. I love that. I'm sorry for listeners that are listening right now because it's probably boring every time we.
Oh, well, they should go bloody read it because it's great.
And they should also watch us on Facebook.
Do you see? Look, this is the when I used to study comics. You see all these little note things here.
Where to look for an.
I wonder what does it say. It says.
Look at Black Cat.
Getting punched anatomy. What does this say? The Thing.
All right, let's go towards the end of the episode because we're almost there now. So, Spider-Man reaches the launch tower where the rocket's about to take off, and he hops off.
That was my favorite shot. It's him in that pose
On top of the pole.
Yeah.
That's my second favorite shot. I agree.
I really like
Because he scales the fence and he jumps over the barbed wire and he just bounces on that pole, and it's just like all of that super agility and balance is focused.
That's just like a classic Spidey pose,
pose,
right?
yeah. And he's talking out loud. He's like, I made it. He's like, all I got to do is like get to that rocket ship and lead Brock there. So Spidey evades Venom in the structures of the rocket ship. As you said earlier, you've got Jim coming. He's been like, we're about to see a rocket take off, folks.
Yeah.
So right when I love as Spider-Man is evading Venom, and he's just like, come on, launch. Like, you could sense how urgent it is in his voice, where he's just like, come on, because I know I'm not going to last against this dude. I'm going to die. or disappear, as the show likes to say.
By the way, the bell tower, I was just looking, he originally gets the suit off by Mr. Fantastic. The bell tower is how he first defeats Venom.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So the rocket ship is something that was created for the show then? And how he
Well, I
defeats
said
Venom.
that seemed like it was taken from Amazing Spider-Man issue #1.
What, the
Oh,
rocket...
here's the page I was talking about with the truck. And that, look at that fucking show that he brought down there. It's so cool.
Oh, I only hate spiders. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so the noise from the ship erupts right when Venom grabs him. And Venom says, for Venom's last line in this episode, because we don't see Venom until, like, season 3. Or season 4.
Really?
He's gone for so long. And
God damn it.
Venom's last line is he grabs Spider-Man and he's like, say aloha! You're like,
No.
that's how you're going out? You're saying aloha? Come on.
Say aloha.
So the noise from the ship as the rocket takes
Isn't that
off,
hello?
or goodbye
Oh.
in Hawaiian. So the noise from the ship causes the symbiote to freak out and it leaves Brock's body. Obviously Spider-Man's plan worked. He's the good guy. He's going to win. The animation on the symbiote in this scene is excellent. In fact, as I said earlier, all the animation on Venom is excellent in this. But I love how it starts to peel back over Brock's face as he's in anguish. And you can see, and then it just expels itself from Brock's body. Spider-Man webs it up. He attaches it to the rocket, and he sends that shit straight back into space where it came from. Spider-Man lugs Brock over his shoulder. He's spotted on security cameras, so he leaves Brock unconscious in the elevator for all the guards to find. And he escapes on top of a military truck. And I like how Spider-Man crouches down real low on that truck. And he hops up on the fence. And he's like, it's over. It is finally over now. Like that. I didn't let that shit go through a crack in a bell tower where I'm like, it's over. It will never come back. That shit's in space. That shit is gone.
That's a good idea. Like, I would have never thought, to send it back to
where it came from. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. So we cut to Peter sitting on a bench with his arm around Mary Jane. They gaze up at the stars. And MJ says it's hard to believe that they're alone in the universe on a night like this, and she wonders what's out there. And Peter wonders the same thing as the moon turns into Venom's face. And I thought it was a bit of a weird way to end the episode, because is that one of those horror tropes where it's like the bad guy's still out there?
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's like that as well. Or is that him still in its head? Like, is he still going to hallucinate Venom every
Maybe
now
it's
and
one of
then?
those Inception endings. It could be either
Yeah.
or.
Alright, so that is the end of the episode. And we hope you all enjoyed our Symbiote Saga takeover, because we'll go back to our regularly scheduled Spider-Man the Animated Series podcast, but these episodes were super special.
I tried to get Todd McFarlane on, but he never responded.
It would have been amazing, but totally understandable.
But I'm also waiting for script for some more work, so...
Yeah.
I know he's been talking to Jamie.
He's like, you want me to come on the show or you want a script? You're like,
Yeah.
I'll take the
He's
script.
like, do I want to talk to my employee or Jamie Foxx?
That's right, we haven't even talked about Jamie Foxx has been cast as Spawn.
Yeah, should be Idris Elba, but...
Yeah, it should be. And Jamie Foxx should be his best friend that betrays him and marries his wife, as we were talking about a few weeks ago, or whatever it was.
I could also get that comic out if you want to go through it.
Stop it.
Don't you want to go through comics?
Mm-mm.
Are you
Talk about
sure?
cartoons on this show.
There was a Spawn animated series on HBO. We could start a whole podcast about that.
Do you know I've never seen that?
Not bad.
Is it?
Nope.
I heard it was pretty good.
Look, it's one of my favorite splash pages from the book. Look at that Greg Capullo, Tom McFarlane dopeness.
That is cool. Oh, my friend Mark Tangway just joined.
Mark Tangway.
I haven't seen him in a while. I talked to him.
His name is Mark Tangway.
He's one of my fraternity brothers that also lives. He lives in the UK now. He lives
Oh,
up
really?
north, yeah. And
That's
also,
weird, isn't it?
yeah, a bit, but in a cool way.
No, I didn't mean oh, that's weird. I mean, that is weird that both two people are now living
in the same
England,
country.
yeah.
Crazy. And then a good fan and a friend of mine is Nate Brown. He just said, great episode. And from Nate and DC Marvel, always enjoyed geeking out on Twitter with you, which is totally true.
Also, everyone get the new issue of Big Trouble Little China variant cover.
Okay. All right, dude. Are we ready to go into our category games, which we've never done live before?
Yes, mate.
You ready, Smythe? All right, let's go into Censor Thwip real quick.
I thought it was Sense of Thwip.
Censor Thwip.
Hey, I got first amendment rights. We just amended them. Looks like I was
I love that pun so much.
Well, isn't this the story of my life? So, you don't like names, huh? Well, that's too bad, Frog Face. Because to me, you're nothing but a two-bit, no-account, second-rate, sewer-bred baboon with the brain of a pigeon and the face of an eel. Stop it!
That's what I'd be like, stop it!
Or rhinos. He's just like, that's him getting out of bed.
Today's D-Day, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Today is D-Day. No relation to Spider-Man whatsoever. Okay, censor threat. There was actually no breaks in censorship in this episode except for the one, which is Venom bursting through his apartment wall and giant shards, like massive shards of glass, like puzzle piece sizes, like, you know, that you could see them forming a window, just broke out as Venom was like, "Rah!"
Yeah.
That was the only break in censorship that I could see.
Okay.
All right. So moving on. Actually, I've got to get the list.
I thought you were like, actually, I gotta take a piss.
What? No. Moving on, we'll do our first round of fights, which is villains versus villains.
Sacrifices must be made. You're right on time. For your funeral, we call ourselves.
Okay. All right. What have we got here? I can't let you see this because obviously you're going to pick some numbers. So leave me alone, Smite. So upon review, we had I believe we had a poll. I can't remember what the poll was last time, and we had a debate on who would win. All right, while you look that up, we're still in our second round fights for villains versus villains. We had what have we got here? We had the Punisher last time won over the Lizard. I think it was a heroes match actually. Now I'm thinking about it. Oh, that's us talking. That's weird.
No, all videos of us talking.
Smythe.
And
Oh, Chameleon versus Tombstone.
50-50. Tie match. Well, what about, did you put it on Twitter?
I did.
Well, let's go to Twitter then.
For the decider. 50-50. That's right. It was two villains, Chameleon and Tombstone. Get a pen right here so I can cross off who loses.
1 second, folks.
Oh, my wife just said, wish I had the app to watch the live stuff. Hope it's going well.
Holy shit, Tombstone won by a landslide.
Did he?
86-14.
All right, Tombstone wins it. And Chameleon's done. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think he was my original choice, wasn't he?
I think he was. I mean, I still felt like Chameleon would have done
I guess
well.
Chameleon could have tricked him. But
Yeah, but how much is
it's
Chameleon...
not up to us anymore. Why are we even debating it again?
Yeah, I don't know why. Also, our friend James Turner said, your honeymoon looks whack. Too true, my friend.
Yeah.
It's whack in all the geekiest ways. All right. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 through 5, Spike.
1 and 5.
We've got Craven,
The Hunter.
the hunter, versus
State your name for the record, please. Craven the Hunter.
Purpose hunting.
Craven. Craven hunting.
Craven that ass. All right, Craven versus the Kingpin. Both really strong, so it's not like that's
I
gonna be a
think
problem.
Craven would maybe underestimate his strength. He'd hunt him down, right? He'd find him in the Chrysler building, and he'd sneak up with him. He'd like, "You fat pudgy target, I built for hunting."
He's French again.
Yeah, yeah, cunt. And then Kingpin, he would run it like he would be like, "Ah, I caught you." Like I think he would do that, and then Kingpin would like grab him by the neck and be like, "Don't hurt." Like the thing you need to know is that you need to learn all about your opponent, Mister. Not exactly like that.
He's
But
not,
he'd
a,
grab
grand,
him.
he's not a granddad.
He'd grab him and be
Yeah,
like,
I knew you were coming today, so did Smythe, and now we're going to chop your limbs off.
Yeah, because once again, every time I have Kingpin in a fight, I think about his arsenal, his base, because Kingpin, let's face it, he never leaves the Chrysler building
Here's
unless
the
he's
thing.
doing like a public appearance.
His abilities are fantastic huntsmanship and fantastic fighting, but Kingpin can take him on equally in one-on-one. The thing that Kingpin has above him is he can hire someone to be a fantastic hunter. He can hire someone to do everything that he does. Kingpin has the ability to outsource it.
So the thing because we've already got a vote for Craven from Nath Brown in the chat. The thing I will say, I think that Kingpin, once again, we've said it many times, he's so calculated and he's so ahead of the game that he would almost set a trap for Craven. I feel like he's like, yeah, come to the Chrysler building, yes, I'll leave the door open, yeah, you think it's okay, I'll leave a little...
Don't kill Smiley.
Yes. Sir! Sorry, Spider, that's happened. But, sir, this man in a loincloth has come in. He's touching me inappropriately, sir.
Happy birthday, Smiley.
I got you a stripper!
Gives him a lap dance on the chair.
Craven the Hunter.
You want these?
You craving this?
But I think that I can see Kingpin, right when Craven thinks like he's got the upper hand, Kingpin just like gorilla grabbing him from behind, right? And just fucking totally like bear hugging him, and he's just like, you thought you were the predator, but you are the prey. And just like totally trapping him. So I know there's going to be disagreements because Craven is a fucking awesome contender. He's got, I mean, maybe Craven could hear or smell Kingpin coming, but then maybe Kingpin would disguise his scent. Spider-Man's done it. Kingpin could do it. He's got...
He's all mudded up like Arnold. And
oh my god! Just comes out completely naked with mud all over. He's just like, 3% body fat.
It's my robe.
After he's
Shits out like R2-D2 in Return of the Jedi.
You're welcome, sir. Sir! Yeah, I think that...
Is the 3% body fat your dick, sir?
Mike! Not in the public! That is bedroom talk only.
I suppose you can see it over my dog's mouth. I haven't seen it since the 90s.
It is the 90s!
I'm skinny about 2 years ago, so you should have seen me. Oh.
I think Venom... Venom, Jesus. I think Kingpin, he takes...
Kingpin's got my vote.
Yeah. Alright, undisputed. Kingpin wins. Get to cross that off my little listy boo. I really enjoy crossing things off on this list. I know it sounds silly, but I'm just like, who we got left? Who's gonna go? Right, Craven's gone. And Kingpin.
I can't read it anyway because I have my glasses on. Sorry.
Alright, let's go into Amazing Friends Fight. Where is the theme tune? There it is.
The name's Daredevil. I punish those who prey aliens.
He's the new champion of the Allied Forces, Captain America.
That guy does a lot of voices.
Is he?
I think it's the voice of Pinky from Pinky in the Brain.
Oh my god! He does a podcast I listen to. Yeah, he does.
He does lots of voices. I think he does
Yeah.
more voices on the show.
He
as
does,
well.
yeah, he does also Yakko from Animaniacs.
You can
Yeah.
just tell. It's Captain America.
Well,
That's the way he speaks.
he's Hydro Man.
Yeah.
He's also
Well,
the
you
voice of
said
Hydro
that,
Man.
yeah.
Okay. We've got pick one number between 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, actually, you know what? Who did we have last time? Oh, yeah, that's right. Agent X went out, and it was a fight between. Sorry, I haven't updated this. Agent X went out, and it was a fight between the Thing and
Thing, Agent X, and
wasn't it the Human Torch?
no.
No? Thought it was, but the Thing won. We decided that. I know that for a fact. Oh, Daredevil. Daredevil,
Oh yeah.
the Thing, and Agent X. So the Thing won. So we don't have that many left in round 2 because there's not many heroes as there are villains. So pick a number between 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
1 and 4.
Okay, we've got Nick Fury versus Sue Storm.
What, Sue Storm will win? She can just go invisible and like snap his neck.
Yeah, but what about like if you're in Shield, you're gonna have countermeasures.
Well, she wouldn't go to Shield.
Well, that's one place.
I mean, you could have like the robot suit, but Sue Storm is so OP. Like she's undefeated.
You think that Sue Storm would win?
I do.
Because I just everyone always underestimates Nick Fury, but he's another calculated dude.
He
that
is.
has so much
I'm happy for that one to go to a vote.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Because
can't.
you're right, there's arguments for both. Like, he could be the robot Nick Fury, or... You know,
He'd have countermeasures in play where he could do heat signatures for her when she's invisible.
Yeah.
You know, and
looking
capture.
through his eye patch.
Looking through his eye patch, we can see her.
That. Well, actually, no, I think Nick Fury wins.
I think Nick Fury wins.
Yeah.
All right. We got another vote online. And we got, is the Kingpin Craven 1-on-1 or will Kingpin hire villains for the trap? It was Kingpin 1-on-1. He'd still win.
Yeah.
He's a legend. Yeah, all Nick Fury has to do is trap Sue in a small space. He's also got a prison for like superheroes as well that he has on board that he could trap them in.
You talking about the negative zone?
The negative zone, yeah. Doesn't he have access to it?
It was created by Reed Richards, but I don't know who
I thought Shield
runs the show.
I thought Shield was running that shit.
Might be.
All right, and our
I love that concept of a prison that they put into a tiny pocket universe.
yeah, that's really cool because they can never escape.
And
It's
if
like
they do escape, they're the size of like atoms.
Ant-Man. All right, and our final category of the day is the Daily Bugle Fact of the Day.
Now let's see who's under that glass. I'm shocked and you're gonna be too. I guess it really does pay to practice shoddy journalism. Keep it up, JJ.
I have waited for this for some time.
Have you waited this for some time, Mike?
It's when his takeout comes. He sees the Domino's man pulling in.
I've been waiting for this for some time.
All right. Since
Next time we get takeout, I need to say that, and I open the door.
I've been waiting for this for some time.
And they'll be like,
the guy's like, it's up in under 30 minutes as promised.
Thank you.
Smile. 28 minutes and 53 seconds precisely, Smile. Okay, so since this is right in front of us, I'm just going to do a roulette and say, just tell me when to stop, and the black are...
stop, I can't read, but go ahead.
Alright, let's do this big one here. Number 17. John Semper said in an online interview that a proposed 6th season would have had Norman Osborn, oh, you know what? I'm going to say this one because we're going to do a season 6.
Okay.
What could have happened? So I am striking that one from the record. We're going to do number 22. Oh yeah, because there's more there too as well. Right, number 22. The crime lord, the Owl, appears in the first chapter of season 2's Neogenic Nightmare saga. Spider-Man, Neogenic Nightmare, Chapter 1, The Insidious 6, which is going to be the first episode of season 2 that we're going to review once we're done with season 1. He is seated with other crime lords, including Hammerhead and Silvermane, during a meeting with the
Hammerhead's
Kingpin.
in the show?
He's in the show.
Cool.
Though the Owl never speaks in the episode, this is the first, and to date, only time the Owl has ever appeared on Spider-Man the Animated Series. Or any Spider-Man the Animated Series.
The Owl's a weird character. I remember him mostly from that Tim Sale Spider-Man book.
Oh yeah, he did do the Owl, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the Owl does. Like, what's his abilities? Does he just like...
He's a hoot.
That is totally a joke I would make, and you'd be like, oh god.
Oh dear.
Okay, well that's interesting to know.
I don't know much about him either.
I don't know.
He just seems like a very Batman 66 villain to me.
Yeah, he does.
With the big eyebrows. He's
Yeah,
like,
he does.
I am the owl.
Yeah. For all those that are listening, he just pretended to fly away.
Very slowly.
I am the owl. Who are you?
Oh, God.
That's what he'd say to everybody.
And who are you?
And then he would end up like stubbing his toe on the table in the living room. He'd be like, ow!
He'd be like, how many punches does it take to get to the center of your face?
A 1, a 2, a 3. 3.
For all English listeners, that is a Tootsie Roll joke.
Yeah, it's Tootsie Roll.
Yep. Let me see that Tootsie
What?
Roll.
Tootsie Pop.
That Tootsie Roll. There was a Tootsie Pop. Oh yeah, there was
How
a
many licks
Tootsie.
does it take to
So you
get
get
to
the center of a
Tootsie
Tootsie Pop, not Tootsie
Those
Roll.
were gross because you'd have a nice candy and in the middle was a fucking Tootsie Pop and you'd be like, oh!
Yeah, yeah. I was enjoying this.
I remember, this is so random, they used to have like a dark raspberry flavour and I fucking loved it. I was about sucking on a lollipop and then it would get to the Tootsie Roll part and I'd spit it out and be like, gross. Why do I want this old fudge? I feel like all Tootsie Rolls were made once, like, and they made a gigantic batch, and that was it. And they're like, oh, we got something.
What? So they spent like 3 days and they're like, we're done, boys.
Yeah,
Wrap it up.
They're like, this tastes like shit. You're like, wait till they taste it in 50 years.
How many licks does
Stick
it
it in
take?
some candy. It'll last a while.
How many idiots does it take to get to the center of this bullshit?
Yeah, I wonder if people still like eat Tootsie Pops.
Yeah, they're still around in the
Really?
States. Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
talking about Tootsie Pops, not Tootsie Roll.
Yeah, they're still around. I remember I used to go to.
I wonder if they still have that dark raspberry flavor.
Where would I? Oh yeah, there used to be a doctor's office I would go to when I lived in Maine, and they would always have a bowl of them, and I was like, ew, that's what
Tootsie
you're giving me?
Rolls?
Tootsie Pops.
Oh.
And I was like, that's what you're giving me?
Tootsie Rolls were gross.
And then there's another one with bubble gum in it, and every time it's just
Oh, the bubblegum
like, do you
one!
remember those?
No, I liked that one because
Really?
the flavour of your lollipop would get into the bubblegum.
Yeah,
And there was one that had a
a.
sour grape bubblegum in the middle of it, and that was... Mwah.
Ah, no, I couldn't do that. That's just gross.
Man, I need some American sweets now.
Can you
There's
imagine-
an American sweet
Can you
shop down the
imagine?
road.
I bet you Kingpin when it's like, Smythe, how many licks does it take to get to the one, Smythe? I'm already done. We're done. Wrap it up, boys.
One bite.
Sir, how many licks does it take to get me?
To the center of my Tootsie Pop, sir.
Smythe, we're in public again. Stop it.
We both know it's 3.
Smythe, I love when you talk dirty to me. Smythe.
I love when you bring in food to our sex life.
Oh, Smythe, we share each other's Tootsie Pops. It's beautiful.
Now let me see that Tootsie Roll.
It's his little dance at bed.
That Tootsie Roll.
He comes out the bottom
Yeah.
in a thong. He's like that.
And he has his towel, he goes, whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is.
Smite.
Look at my little Kingpin, Smythe. That's the Kingpin down there.
Smythe's got his chair, it's like,
Actually, the bed is just a giant hover chair.
oh god. Kingpin getting into bed. Ah, good night. There'd be such a gap between them. Like the cover would be like a tent with a smile. He might roll over on him in the night and he's like,
He can't get out. It's just a You're a mobile, Smythe. Lay it there and take it.
dear.
I love how, like, Smythe could be like, sir, you need to handcuff me. He's like, you're not going anywhere, Smythe. Are you getting I love how you disapprove every time I make that joke.
Oh, my cheeks hurt from laughing.
Oh, fucking hell. All right, I think that wraps up our Symbiote saga, and we hope you all enjoyed the episode review. And for all those that joined and watched, thank you so much. Otherwise, this episode will be going up on our usual channels, audio only, I think either tomorrow or Friday at the latest. So, do you have anything you want to add or plug before you jet off?
Don't think so.
No, you good? Still drawing Spawny?
Still drawing Spawny.
And that will
Hopefully
be out
Marvel.
August?
Hopefully Marvel or DC after that. No, it's gonna be out in December, and then next.
Right.
Yeah, it's coming out late December, and then either this week or next week on my YouTube channel, I will be inking the Christmas-themed cover for Spawn.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
All right, well, that's all the time we've got for this week. Join us next week. We'll be talking all things Spider-Man the Animated Series. Until then, I've been Alex Robson.
I'm Will Robson.
And remember, with our great podcast comes great recordability.
Yeah.
Bye.
Alright.
How do you turn this off, Smythe?
I don't know. All these videos end with us being like, wow.